Y'all go get your shots.
Slowly. We'll see. I'll wait on mine, but that's fine.
So you're against vax? Are you an anti-vaxxer?
No, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just think I don't know. It just seems like it was developed so quickly.
Welcome to Too Much,
Our podcast about, well, whatever.
from issues of the world to topics of lesser grandeur. We've got you covered with a little bit too much to say about everything.
So let's start the show.
She came, she saw, she conquered. She was Christmas. And I'm Michael.
And I'm wondering why they call it Boxing Day. Cody.
Oh, Boxing Day. Why do they call it Boxing Day? Do you know?
No, I wasn't lying.
Okay. Hey, Alexa. Why do they call it Boxing Day?
Boxing Day is so called because it was the custom on that day for tradesmen to collect their Christmas boxes, often filled with small gifts, money and leftovers from Christmas dinner.
Okay, Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Okay,
That's so random. I don't get it.
So it's the day when tradesmen collected boxes with gifts. I don't even know why, but
It makes no sense. When she first started talking, I thought she was going to say, like, it's when tradesmen went and collected the boxes that people gave gifts in. Because
Right.
maybe back in the day, they were more like elaborate boxes and, like, they reused them and
right,
stuff.
like recycling. You get your gift in a box on Christmas Day, you put it out on the porch, someone come collects it.
But now it's just like a Christmas for tradesmen.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know who came up with it, but anyway,
Fabulous.
it's a day for cheap shopping.
Yeah. We never talked about your birthday.
Yes, my birthday came and it
went.
It went. I am a year older in reality, but in my fantasy, I am still
2
the
years
same.
younger.
Yes, I am. Who's counting 2020?
I don't know. Not me. I don't really count birthdays at all anyway.
Yeah.
Age doesn't mean anything to me.
Age is nothing but a number, and I forget numbers all the time. My birthday was interesting. It was like a surprise thing. It was fun. It was cute. I had no idea. I had no say in where I went or what I did. I just showed up and smiled and ate cake.
And what was that like? Because you're kind of a control freak.
Kind of a control freak. I am very much a control freak.
So what was it like being not in control? Or not just... There's other situations where you're not in control, but not knowing what the next step would be.
First off, I don't like surprises for future.
Oop.
Like, I don't like the idea of not knowing what's going to happen. It gives me anxiety. I want to control the situation. I want to know what's happening. I want to be able to, maneuver and navigate it beforehand. But this time around, I wasn't able to. And it wasn't horrible, but I had anxiety not knowing. But I ended up having a great time.
I was going to say, is the anxiety temporary? And then it's like, okay, now I'm having a little bit of fun letting go because I know now I have some idea what the rest of it is going to be.
It's
So
like
my anxiety's over.
ebbs and flows, because in the beginning, anxiety is rattling my body. And it's like, what's happening? What's next? And then it happens. And I'm like, ooh, this is nice. It's like, it's not bad. It's not horrible. And then I'm getting into the mode of it, and then something else happens that I didn't plan myself, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? And then I get comfortable again, and then I start freaking out again, and I get comfortable, and it's a whole process.
How would you feel if somebody like, okay, you're turning 50 and they throw like a surprise 50th birthday party with all these people that you know and you had no idea? How do you feel about surprise birthday parties?
I feel weird about it because I like to plan my own stuff. Like, will you actually know what I like at my party? Do you know my favorite drink, my favorite cake, my favorite... Like, do you know?
Well, I mean, if they're throwing such a big celebration, then yeah, hopefully they do.
Man, I don't know. I'm too controlling for that. If it's my 50th and they surprise me, fine. But I have my days when I'm just like really nonchalant. And what if I'm not in the mood for that? Or what if I'm dressed not, like I'm just dressed all the way down?
You have to turn it on. And also, if people are good party planners, then they make an excuse for you to like look presentable. You know what I mean? Or they bring you your party outfit And then it's like, surprise! And then they sneak you off to the bathroom.
So it's like I walk through the door,
get you changed.
I'm in sweats, and I look a hot mess, and they're like, surprise! And I'm like, oh my god, I look gross. Everyone's
Whatever,
dressed
it's just
up.
for the snap story, and then you change into your outfit for the pictures.
You know how I control... This is something I do that I don't even care. I'm not even going to make an excuse for myself. I do this, and I don't care. If my friends take pictures with me, they have to get my approval before they post that photo.
Wow. Talk about control freak.
Because I'm like, okay, we took 15...
You can just untag yourself or whatever.
No, you're not going to have that out in the universe and the internet. We could take like 15 selfies and you choose the one where you look cute, but we both don't look cute. And you're going to post that and tag me, or even if you don't tag me, like, no.
Well, you need to get better friends then if they're doing that.
I know. I should cut all those hoes off.
You have to find a photo where you all
look good.
The balance. It's like, okay, this is where we all look the best combined.
Exactly. But some people are so selfish. You're like, well, I look cute here, but your eye looks like cocked in the photo because you're blinking or something. I'm like, that's not cool.
Okay, so a year older, a year wiser, to be determined. What plans do you have for the next year of Michael?
The next year.
Goals, aspirations.
Just to be happy. That's all I want to be, guys. Like, I'm not trying to be the biggest this, the best that. I am the biggest and the best in my own world. So I'm good. I just want to be happy.
That's not too much to ask. Maybe it is these days.
These days, you never know. You know, speaking of surprise parties, I was watching a video of this guy, Tina Knowles posted it.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, I had my birthday came and my wife didn't even tell me happy birthday. My kids didn't tell me happy birthday. I went to work and no one said anything to me. And my boss, who is my manager, who is a female, was like, happy birthday. And I'm like, wow, it's weird. Only this one person remembered my birthday today. And she said, can I take you to lunch for your birthday? And I'm like, yeah, sure. She took me to lunch, and then she's like, oh, I need to pick something up at my house. Do you mind driving with me back?
Love it.
And he goes with her, and he's like, this is different, but sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes into the house, and she's like, I'm going to go into my bedroom and come back. And he stays out in the living area. And when she comes back out, she's there with his wife, his kids, and his friends and family and whatever. And he is laying there naked on the couch.
So what?
Yeah. And they're getting a divorce right now.
Oh my god. So he thought his boss was making moves.
Yes.
But that's so messed up. Ooh. So you just strip all your clothes off?
I mean, as a man, I guess he thinks this female is taking me out to lunch for my birthday, inviting me to her house. And she's like, oh, let me go get something in the bedroom. I'll be right back.
If she wanted to smash, she would have just took you to the bedroom with her.
I know. He's like butt naked on the couch waiting for her to come back because he's like, well, I'm getting some today. But my thing is so why would the wife agree to have this whole elaborate thing at the boss's house?
They must have been close enough with the boss.
I guess they must have been, but he is just a mess. You just think your boss is going to want to have sex with you out of the blue. Like, were there signs before today?
I mean, it didn't, maybe it didn't seem out of the blue to him. And maybe, you know how people like to what's the word? Like justify them cheating?
Right.
Him being like, oh, you know,
no one remembered my birthday.
Yeah, everyone forgot my birthday. So I wasn't like, I felt some type of way and this and that. And then somebody remembered it and it, give me a break.
But yeah.
But you can see that happening.
I could see it happening. And that's one of the downfalls of a surprise party.
Absolutely.
It's like, you don't know what you're going to get. But anyways, I'm excited for the new year. And the vaccine is out. Y'all go get your shots.
Slowly. We'll see. I'll wait on mine, but that's fine.
So you're against vax? Are you an anti-vaxxer?
No, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just think I don't know. It just seems like it was developed so quickly, and you don't know the long-term
effects.
You know what I mean?
For Pfizer, 4 out of like 2,000 people who tested this product got cerebral palsy, I believe.
What?
I don't want to misquote the thing. I might be giving you guys the wrong information. But no, they had side effects where they temporarily their face was like paralyzed.
Oh, see, yeah, I'd like to know the long-term effects. Like, what is it? Is there any side effects in 5 years?
And that's
10
why a lot of
years?
people are scared, because they're like, people are having, even though it's not a large number of people, it's like 4 people out of 2,000. So that's not a big ratio. However, this is short-term effects.
Yeah.
And we don't know if these people had specific underlying issues. That's why the medication mixed with whatever they had, it's creating this effect. Now, 5 years from now, it could be that people are just being paralyzed.
I mean, if we all have to get it, or they really want everybody to get it, then whatever. By the end of 2021, then I'll think about getting it. But if not everybody needs to get it, like if the numbers start going way down,
Right.
with like, I don't know, 50% of the population getting it, then I will probably hold out.
But what and a lot of people are like really advocating, go get it, go get it, go get it, because I saw someone post the other day, do you guys really think you would be alive today if you didn't have a vaccine for polio? I'm like, okay, this is not the same thing. Calm down. This was created very quickly with really limited knowledge of what COVID is.
But
Up to today, the World Health Organization, CDC, they barely have enough information on COVID.
But then people also said, it's been developed fast, but people have been working on vaccines for so many years.
And just miraculously, all the other vaccines in the past happened to match up with the components of this one.
No. But they look at other vaccines. They have vaccine research, and then
Yeah.
they build off of that for COVID.
For sure. But
And they had the best in the world working on it.
COVID is kind of like a super flu, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
And we know at this point that there's no cure for the flu. And so how is it we're going to get a cure for a super flu?
But you get vaccines for the flu.
Yeah, and it doesn't work.
It works for some people. There's just so many different strains.
Exactly. That's why it's so difficult for them to pinpoint what COVID is. It keeps changing and it keeps evolving. If you need to get it, go get it. Anyways, we're not going to have the segment this week about weird shit happening in the world today, because 2020 has been the weirdest shit of our entire lifetimes.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that. On today's episode, instead, we're just going to do a full episode of some of the biggest stories of 2020.
Yeah.
And, some that we forgot, some that we want to forget, and, whatever was most interesting.
So you guys been listening to the podcast. Thank you.
But if the Too Much podcast isn't enough, there's a whole lot more content on Michael's YouTube.
Yeah, I post like every single week and I have literally too much going on over there.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please drop a comment and tell us what you thought or what you'd like to see Michael do next.
Bye. Oh, no. Back to the show. Well, obviously, the biggest thing that happened in 2020 was COVID-19, also known as coronavirus. Okay, that's my best Cardi B impression, and it sucks.
It needs some work.
It needs some work.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd be here in 2020 with a worldwide pandemic?
I know, this is something that I never thought I would experience in my lifetime, but hey, here we are and we're surviving.
Thought it was just in the movies.
It's like almost like the zombie apocalypse, but there's no zombies yet.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
still
you get
holding
sick.
my breath. You never know what's going to happen. 2020 has actually, COVID-19 has actually made me seriously think that I need to have a kit on hand and some cash.
Like a emergency kit, end
Like
of the world kit.
survival, emergency, end of the world, all of that. I always thought about it like, make sure you have some stuff ready just in case things pop off. And I'm like, I always have like cash just in case, hidden.
What's cash gonna help you with if things pop off?
I mean, cash is king. When the world is in chaos and electricity is nigh, no one's gonna be like, let me swipe my card. And
Yeah,
if
but the stores will be
you
closed. You just break
probably
the window.
you probably will be looting a lot. However, if let's say I don't have a vehicle and I need someone to help me out to get resources or whatever, people are not going to be like, well, just here you go because it's the end of the world. People are selfish. They're going to want something in return. So at least if you have some type of money, they'll take it, whether or not they can use it. People will take your money
I
in
guess.
return.
I mean, usually in those kits, people have like non-perishable food.
Yeah, I would probably starve because I don't. I'm not a
Matches.
tin food type of person.
Yeah, you would be in that case.
No, I'd probably just be like, let's hope there's some grass outside or leaves.
When do you think this pandemic's going to be over?
I see things returning to normalcy early 2022.
Yeah, I think we still have a while left.
I feel like we have another year of this, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been tough. A lot of things have happened. The death toll has surpassed millions worldwide at this point, and a lot of people are suffering because they have no jobs, they have no resources, they are displaced. Others have contracted this disease and they're really going through it, fighting for their lives. First responders, they are heroes at this point. All of that, we really appreciate you. Everyone that's been staying safe, continue to do so. Everyone that's doing the most and acting a damn fool, go get some sense.
Amen.
Yeah.
Do you remember a little show called Tiger King?
That Tiger King swept the nation.
Oh,
Not the nation, but the entire world.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Anywhere
Absolutely.
any country that had Netflix was talking about Tiger King.
And that was like right at the beginning of the pandemic. Like I think that it got released like maybe a week before we started working from home.
Yeah, I think it was released the first week of March, and I remember March 13th is when I started working from home. And I was like, we would do like meetings virtually, and in our meetings we'd be talking like, oh my God, are you watching Tiger King?
Yeah,
It was
same
just-
at my job. We would do like check-ins every day, like with the team at lunch, and people would post like Tiger King memes.
Right.
And then I'm like, I hadn't started it yet.
Oh, I was
And so I was
so
like, okay,
invested.
well now I have to get onto it. Because I'm not one of those people who watches like all the documentaries that they have on Netflix.
Yeah, I
So I was
rarely
like,
do.
okay, docu-series about tigers. Not really my thing.
Joe Exotica was
Exotic.
Exotica. I don't even know what the hell your name is. Do you know that he wrote a letter to Kim Kardashian asking her to try and get him out of jail?
Oh, well, she does get a lot of people out of jail. Too bad for him, he's white.
I know. He was, even in the letter, he said, you don't even have to tell anyone you did this. He's like, just help me get out of jail. You don't have to let anyone know you helped me. I just want to get out.
But he's not innocent.
Exactly. He literally paid someone to kill Carol Baskins.
Yeah, he's not innocent, and it's not a small crime. She's getting people out who are in there on like low drug crimes,
Right.
not conspiracy and to commit murder.
And I believe he committed arson as well. When that thing burnt down on his property, I was like, you planned that.
Yeah,
That was no accident.
man, that whole thing was just so sketchy. Like, imagine being in the pitch meeting at Netflix.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, if this is half as good as you're selling it to me, I'll buy it. Millions. Here you go.
Watching
This
it,
sounds
I
so
just thought
crazy.
to myself, this is wilder than a movie that I could have imagined.
Oh, absolutely. And now
and it's all real.
now it's going to be a mini series.
Ooh, aren't they going to have, what's his face, Nicolas Cage play him?
Yep.
He's going to be a really good Tiger King. He has the look. He has that dirty look.
I feel like Kate McKinnon is going to be
Carol Baskins?
Carol Baskin. But now I'm like, was that a rumor? Somebody signed on to play Carol. I think it was Kate.
Carol is a real interesting character too, because if you look at it like objective, like just look at it, she is doing the exact same thing that Joe is doing, that other guy who has 20 sister wives is doing.
Yeah, I think that 20 Sister Wives guy just got in trouble a couple weeks ago for something.
Right, he's probably on his way to the big house too.
Yeah.
He literally brainwashed all these women.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, look at him, look at Joe, and yet they have all these multiple husbands, this is just the weirdest thing.
That was so crazy. Even like when I was watching, I'm like, I need to get my parents to watch this because It is just so wild. Like I just need to share it with whoever wants to see it, because this story is so crazy. And like when I'm telling them the stories, I'm like, it sounds crazy, but you actually need to see it for yourself.
Fact is weirder than fiction.
Exactly.
Speaking of crazy stories and things we never thought we would be seeing in 2020, the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres.
I'm going to be honest, when it happens, well, I mean, she hasn't completely fallen, but when her life was going sideways, I loved it.
Why? She is the be nice to everyone woman, you know?
Because I've just heard so many rumors over the years of her being a terrible boss, that show being a terrible place to work at. I work in the entertainment industry, and I know people who have worked there.
Yeah.
Who have like left Canada to go up for a job on her show, and have said it was horrible. And they have a very high turnover rate. Like a lot of their producers and stuff don't last very long, because it's an abusive environment. So when I heard this stuff, I'm like, it matches up to the stories I've heard. And it wouldn't be the first example we've seen of somebody who their image is so pure and they're terrible.
I mean, look at Bill Cosby.
Exactly.
Not comparing Ellen to Bill Cosby. We're just saying his image was very squeaky clean until, Until
it all came out.
But the thing with Ellen is, I mean, there were stories saying, oh, you can't look at her, you can't talk to her while on set. But in the end, it seemed more like it was the executive producers who were horrible and she just didn't know what was going on. Or that's the narrative she pushed.
I think there was a little bit of both. She definitely had executive producers running the show who were like terrible
Tyrants.
bosses.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she was kind of just like, I come record the show, I leave, so she wasn't keeping an eye on them. Mm-hmm. But I think she also admitted when she came back and did her whole apology that she's not the social butterfly that people think she is, and she's not as happy
all
as
the
people
time
think she is.
And
so
I
she's
get
like,
that.
sometimes I walk around the office and I don't want to talk to people. And maybe that wasn't clear or like came off the wrong way.
You see, the thing is, I understand, and that's why I'm not so hard on her, because to a lot of people, I am very bubbly, I'm very happy, and I'm very positive all the time.
Who said that?
I will kick your ass.
Who said that?
But to other people, I have this resting bitch face, and I don't speak a lot, so I seem unapproachable. I cannot be bubbly 24/7 to everyone.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm shooting an episode of my YouTube channel or whatever, or I'm doing this podcast, I turn on for the recording or for whatever I'm giving, because I can't just be here like, well, I'm not in the mood.
I would say you pivot to that part of your personality.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I get it for her. She has to do a show for an hour. She comes out. She's happy. She gives the audience all she has. And then when it's done, it's like, I have other stuff at home bothering me. My wife's probably not giving me any. You don't know. The dogs are probably shitting on her expensive carpet.
Well, I think it's also a mix of, I don't think her heart is in the show the way it was in the beginning.
I believe that too.
Because there's been a lot of, her contract has come up for renegotiation a couple of times in the past year. And she's made comments about, I don't know how many more years I'm going to do the show. It's a daily show. Mm-hmm. She's like, I kind of want to get back into stand-up. I want to produce other shows. And now she is doing a lot of that. And you see her like, Jennifer Aniston will guest host the show, or Sean Hayes will guest host the show.
Miley Cyrus.
So she's not around as much anymore. So it's
I get it.
I think when her heart is in it less, the people are kind of feeling that.
I see this from her and from Wendy as well. When Wendy was newer to the show, she was so excited. She was pulling notes out of her wig. She was on top of Hot Topics.
Yeah.
And as the show went on, she just showed less interest. She would come on and she would spend the entire Hot Topics talking about what she had for lunch.
Yeah.
Or some other stupid thing. And she would not know any of the stories. She'd be giving wrong information. And that's what Ellen has come to at this point.
I mean, a daily show is a grind.
But
it's a real grind.
For Wendy, I know she shoots 4 days a week. On Thursdays, she does 2 shows. She gets Friday off. I don't know if Ellen shoots exactly 5 days a week. I doubt that.
It's still a lot to give.
I get it. It's a lot to give because every day you have to be giving this
You have to turn it
specific
on.
side of your personality.
Yeah, exactly.
And 5 times for the week, I guess it's a lot.
Do you remember, moving on, that was the best segue that I can give. Do you remember when Forbes came out and said, oh, remember last year when we called Kylie Jenner a self-made billionaire and you all freaked out? Yeah, we were wrong. She's not actually a billionaire.
And I think her mom and her, they were like trying to rebut that to say, no, I'm actually a billionaire. I don't care.
Forbes basically said that they lied about their valuation of the company. They said it was worth more than it is.
I feel like that entire family does that. Kanye too. Like, I remember when Forbes was like, this is what we surmise you are worth based on the tax returns you've sent us, because you actually have to send them your tax returns and a bunch of financial records for them to say, yeah, you actually have this amount of money.
1 year Kanye is bankrupt, and then the next year he's a billionaire. So
I know.
It's just
he was worth negative $50 million. Negative $50 million. That's how much he owed people. He had nothing for himself.
Well, he signed a couple deals, I guess, and got right out of that.
And all of a sudden, you're worth $1 billion. And then when they said he might be worth $1 billion, he's like, I'm worth like $3 billion. I'm like, okay, girl.
Yeah.
Yeezys sell, but you're not making that much money from Yeezys.
No, definitely not.
Look at freaking Jordans. The last time I checked,
Jordan makes a lot though.
They do, but Jordans didn't just pop up to billions overnight.
But apparently Yeezy makes more than Jordan does. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not buying it.
He said Yeezy jumped over the Jumpman. And then there was a year where I think his sales were higher than the Jordan sales were. That's
all good and nice, but at the same time, I just don't believe that he's worth all of that. But anyways, that's that family. They're all weird. On to more like morbid news. This is something that really hurt me when it happened, because I'm a huge fan of Glee. When Naya Rivera died, I was so sad.
I think it was sad because I don't have the same attachment to Glee. I loved it the first few years, but I loved it for the comedy. I wasn't here for the singing.
Oh, but
Sue Sylvester,
so genius.
Her. I could just watch a show about that. But I think it was sad because of the circumstances.
It was.
Because she was already seemed like a really troubled girl in the past, 5 years. And then the fact that she would pass away with her son, and then it's kind of just like somebody saw her son floating in a lake and then was like, where's your mom? Just the whole thing is just
the son was still in the boat.
Yeah. Like, sorry, I meant like the boat was floating in the lake. He's in the boat, not just like by himself in water.
It was very sad. I wouldn't say she was troubled in the past 5 years, but what I will say is that in the 5 or so years preceding her death, she had scandal because of Big Sean and that whole he cheated on her with Ariana Grande thing that was in the tabloids. And
that was more than 5 years ago, though.
Well, at some point. And he wrote a song about her, whatever, that passed. But then she wrote a book. And in the book, she really detailed some things that had happened. And so it was like a little mini feud between her and Leah Michele. Is that her name?
Leah Michele.
What's her name?
Oh, yeah, the other girl from Glee?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, what does this have to do with Big Sean? Different feud.
Right. So, but I don't think she was troubled. I just think she was outspoken. Like, she told her truth. Because everyone else on the cast loved her. Literally, right now, they have a charity in her honor. Because I can't remember the name of the charity right now. I can probably find it while we're talking.
I think she was a little troubled, but yes, I get what you're saying. And the tea is, this year, everybody came for Leah Michele.
Yes, everyone did come for her because they're like, yeah, you were a bitch. You were hard to work with.
Literally everyone says that, I guess, except Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy loves her, and I don't know.
Because he loves the diva, I guess, so he doesn't care that everyone is so ooh. But yeah,
it was sad. I really wanted to. I had so much hopes for her. She just landed in a show, and it was going to be renewed for a second season.
Yeah.
Before she died.
Yeah.
And I just thought she was such a great talent, a beautiful, like stunning woman.
Yeah.
Great mom. Her son was her life, and she was just so damn talented. Beautiful voice.
Amen. Another scandal this year was when Nick Cannon was fired from Wild 'N Out because he was on that podcast saying anti-Semitic stuff with that anti-Semitic guy.
You know what, Nick Cannon? I like you. I respect your hustle, and I think you're a really cool guy. However, you perpetuate that little weird black man thing where the world is flat.
Hotep?
What do you call that?
A hotep?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's like I don't want to explain it right now, but because I don't think I'll find the right words. But it's like that. Too woke for your own good.
Yes.
Like they're putting they're putting AIDS in chicken McNuggets.
Right.
That type of black guy.
That type of guy. I used to work at this place with this guy, Leroy. If you're out there in the universe,
not his name being Leroy.
Leroy was just something else. He would come to work every day ready to debate with me. The world is flat. I'm like, sir, science does not agree with you.
Yeah.
He's like, well, do you know what they're doing in Antarctica? I'm like, yeah. He's like, they have a whole base down there. No one can visit there. I'm like, people go to Antarctica all the time, actually. He's like, no. Like where you go, they like, you can't go to a certain part of it, and they have a whole base and they're doing this and that. And the planes don't fly from this direction to that direction. The planes only fly one direction because yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, so you're telling me that in Antarctica, you can keep walking until you fall off the face of the earth? Is that why the polar bears are extinct? Like, what's going on?
They're just all walking off the edge of the earth.
Like, what is going on, Leroy?
Yeah, I think I have a huge problem. I wrote about it. I wrote an article about it for Lainey Gossip this year, but about black people supporting pro-black figures that are anti other minority groups.
Yes. So this happens, and there's a I get it part of me, and there's a we need to stop part of me, and this is why. A lot of other minority groups, like Asians and East Indians, you name it, whatever, all of them, sometimes it seems as if they feel as if they're a little bit better than black. And we've all experienced this. We have what they call the model minority.
Yeah.
And at the top of the model minority chain is Asians.
Yeah.
And that's because, one, they're like really closer to white, and they are very passive in stereotypically, and
often excel in business and tech.
Right. They excel in business and tech, and they just want to get along. They're not trying to cause any problems. If the system is already set, they're not trying to change the system. They're just trying to
work as hard as possible to get
to live within the system. And for the right under them, you have East Indians, where model minorities, they come, they're good at their medicine, tech, and they're still trying to just be in the system, while black people are like, the system is rigged and we need to change it. We're not trying to survive in your rat race. We want you to change this entire thing. So some black people are like very superstitious, very weary of everything, and we think everyone's out to get us sometimes, and we sometimes speak against other minorities. So I get that.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, I don't like the model minority mindset, and, Muslims should die, and
yeah, like that's anti-Semitic, and that's just wrong. We should never have that type of conversation. So,
but there's people like that. There's pro-black figures who are like extremely homophobic, but people support them because they're pro-black. It's like, well, you have to look at the other stuff too.
True, and that's why when they fired Nick Cannon, I said to myself, while I love his show, he deserved to be fired, because if anyone else said that, particularly a white person, I'd be like, fire him. So I have to be fair right across the board.
Yeah, the thing is, he's come around now, and he's like, I'm sorry for my insensitive comments. I would love to have this person on my podcast to talk about this and tell me how I'm wrong here, and that's all great. But the initial reaction of, I don't give a shit, da 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 da, that's what I don't like.
I get it. But that's Nick, and here's Google. Google got sued for $5 billion over private mode tracking. Now, based on claims that Google illegally tracks users' data when browsing in private incognito mode, the tech giant and owner, Alphabet, landed in the U.S. Class action that demanded at least $5 billion be paid in settlement. Now, this is very scary to me, because we know that I'll be in the house talking on my phone to my friends about a specific product that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And I scroll through Instagram right the same time. You're talking and you're scrolling through Instagram, and you see the product pop up on your screen. And I'm like, how do you even know that I wanted this?
It's that quick. How do you know? You who uses Siri for everything and has that woman
I know
owned by Amazon. I won't say her name because I don't want her to start talking.
Yeah, I have that lady
listening
on
all the time,
24/7, and Siri's always listening to my conversations. But it's scary. Nothing's private. Nothing is private. Even they tell you, if you don't want us to use your data to sell to advertisers, then go into incognito. And you go into incognito, and yet they're still selling your data.
I don't even think twice about the incognito. I'm like, the only reason I would use incognito is that if I don't want people to see the porn sites that I'm visiting in my history. I don't care if Google knows about the porn sites I'm visiting. Hopefully they'll pop up faster. I'll only have to type in the first letter. Autofill. Thank you.
Oh, gross. But yeah, that's Google, and I hope they understand the ramifications of their actions and they stop. But in another sad event that happened this year, Kobe Bryant passed away along with his daughter and I believe 5 other people.
Wow, yeah, I forgot about that. His daughter died too.
Yeah, a lot of times people think about the death and they forget his daughter was in the helicopter. There were like there was a pilot, and there were like 3 other friends that were there, including one of the daughter's friends. So another young girl died.
So sad.
So Kobe, this happened very early in the year. Kobe does not like to drive in LA because rush hour traffic is just a mess, and he feels like it's a waste of time. The time you're spent in your car in traffic, he could be at his kid's game. He could be doing errands. He could be training for, basketball season. Mm-hmm. So that's why he stopped driving and he started doing the whole helicopter thing back and forth. That didn't turn out so well that time.
Yeah, apparently the weather was, it wasn't great flying conditions that day. But it's just, I remember when I think I was at work when it happened, and it was like coming out on Twitter, and it was like,
yeah, I
remember nobody knew things that were happening at first?
Right.
It was like a plane went down, and then it was like, Kobe was in the plane, but that wasn't confirmed. And then people were like, don't make up rumors. Kobe didn't die, da 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 da. And then I think TMZ said it was Kobe and the daughter before the police had said anything.
Right.
And now people are like, oh, TMZ shouldn't be talking about death before it's announced, blah, blah, blah.
It's TMZ. That's what they do. We can't get mad at them for it.
I know. That was my thing. I'm like, well, but they're investigating stuff. And if they find out information, then...
It's their job to be the first people to release it.
But the thing is, I guess people are saying that the next of kin should be notified before it becomes front page news.
To be honest, it would be nice. And that's why the police need to get on top of it and do things quickly. Because if the tabloids get a hold of it, you cannot expect them to hold on to it.
But sometimes maybe they couldn't get, someone to pick up the phone.
Well, they found out scrolling through Twitter, now.
Heartless. Anyways,
think so.
it was very sad to see. I don't have a personal connection with Kobe, but I know a lot of people.
You know, I
kind of
did
grew up
not
with
have
him.
a personal connection to him either, because I was never the biggest basketball
Yeah, I was
fan
gonna say you have to be a basketball
or
watcher.
anything like that. But for some reason, when he passed, it felt sad. It's like, I don't know this man very well, but his impact is far and wide, and I've heard of him my entire life.
Yeah,
So
he seemed like a good spirit
it feels like he's
and a good dad.
there's this connection, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I remember watching the memorial service and Beyonce performed, and I was like, this is hard. And it's not even that I know him or I'm a big fan of him, but just the idea that he died with his kid and their friends, and so many people died in that crash. I was like, this is really hard to sit through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of Beyonce, she released her Black is King musical film on Disney Plus this year. What did you
And
think
I
of it?
was living. It
Living.
was it was so well produced, which you expect that from Beyonce.
Oh, absolutely. I think Disney's just like, here's $50 million.
Do what you want to do with it.
Exactly. You know what? When I look back on it, though, I don't love it. Like, I think that I liked Lemonade better. I think that I liked Homecoming better. I think it's gorgeous. And the visuals are beautiful. And the fashion is beautiful. Like, I wish I had a coffee table book.
I
Just
would
of
love
images from the movie that I could look at. But I find sometimes a hard time connecting with her very like metaphorical storytelling of the Lion King story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was different. I remember, that scene when Simba was younger and he went to Scar, and Scar was like, "You better get out of here. It's not safe for you. I'm not your babysitter."
Mm-hmm.
And in her story, it was the guy with the snake around his neck. Oh, I bit my tongue. The snake around his neck and the kid and everything. The kid was pretty much mute throughout the entire thing. I don't think the kid spoke. But anyways, it was an interesting way to tell the story. I will say you're right. It was not my absolute favorite out of all of her other big productions like Lemonade or Homecoming. But I will say that the music was great.
Yep.
The visuals were absolutely mind-blowing.
Gorgeous.
Just so freaking beautiful.
And celebrating African culture like that is
I would
always
rewatch
great.
it just to like catch stuff that I missed. The looks.
Yeah.
Whoever was a stylist for this entire thing, kudos to you.
And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love Beyonce's commitment to projects that you all told her flopped.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, that Black is King album, no one listens to that. That didn't get to the top of the charts. Beyonce's like, do you think I give a shit? A year later, I'm going to put out a film about it.
And that's why I respect her so much. And what she said in her Vogue interview, she's like, I'm not trying to, well, she said this before. She's not trying to be on the charts. She's been there, done that. She paved the way, and she knows that how that game is played.
Yeah.
She's not trying to still be that girl. She's literally trying to do art and projects that speak to her soul and that fulfill her. That's it. If she has a connection to it, then she's doing it. If she doesn't, then that's all right.
Amen. I hope one day I have I get to the level where I can just do things that make me happy, and that's it.
Speaking of doing things that make you happy, Jada Pinkett Smith and her entanglement.
August Alsina made her very happy for a number of years.
A number of years. August was up in there. That whole conversation with her and Will Smith was so uncomfortably produced, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it was produced by her, but it was uncomfortable. I just wish that they would have went into more detail about it. It's like, okay, yeah, we get that you guys were whatever, not in a good relationship at the time and you were sleeping with August, but I want to know the tea on the relationship.
That's why I can't
there's
trust them.
Always been rumors that they're like swingers or they have an open relationship. So I'm like, is August the only man? This would have been the time to tell us. Like, both of us have stepped outside. I mean, Will kind of
alluded
to that fact that they've both done things, and that there might have been like a, I don't know, 1 or 2 year time when they weren't even like considered husband and wife. But I'm like, just tell us the whole story. That would have been the real Red Table Talk.
Yeah. That's why I can't trust them. And that's why the Red Table Talk in itself, as a show, annoys me. And I do not feel, as a black person, the Red Table Talk is a representation of my community. For a number of reasons. They're not honest. And I feel like this show is only here to... It's very self-serving. It's not like we're here to hear the plight of the black people as black people, and to shine light on what's going on, and to uplift the great things that are being done in the community and all that. What this show has been used for the past little while, especially in 2020, is to rehabilitate people's images.
But they never set out to be any of the things that you just said.
Oh, what did they tell you that they set out to be, since you know so much?
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure they just set out to be a talk show.
No.
A multi-generational talk show.
A multi-generational talk show talking about female issues and black issues.
Okay.
That's what they branded themselves as. And if they didn't specifically say that, they insinuated that's what they were doing, because that's what everyone gets from their show. Like, that's what they're trying to be from the jump. That's what everyone got from it. And all I've seen them do is bring on Snoop Dogg to, like, reprise his good name when he called Gayle King a bitch or something, called her dog-faced bitch. And then they brought on T.I. to rebuild his reputation, when he was fully saying he has separate standards for his younger son than he has for his older daughter. His younger son can be having sex and bring girls over, and he's like,
literally,
my man,
his
go,
daughter's
you
vagina.
go. And then his older daughter, who is fully old enough to have sex if she wants to.
But T.I. is problemac on
He's
so
like,
many
I'm going to check
levels.
her hymen every year.
So many levels.
And then you bring on... Who else did they bring? They brought on Jordan, which was, to be honest, the only person that I agreed with to be there. Jordan Woods. She's the only guest I was like, I get it. Bring her on. She deserves this. She deserves to be redeemed from all of what the Kardashians were trying to portray her to be. They brought on that little girl that was caught up in the college scandal.
Oh, yeah, that was
the grandma was like, I'm not having it. And I was like, I agree with you. But hey, it's Jada's show.
Okay, moving on. 2020 was the year that Harvey Weinstein was finally found guilty of rape after so long. I feel like it was like, 3 years ago when we first heard?
It was in 2017.
Nailed it. 3 years ago.
Women were accusing him of sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And this just went on and on and on and on. He was sentenced to 23 years of imprisonment in March.
So he'll die in prison.
Pretty much.
He also has another case too, so he could get even more years. But I'm just happy that...
Do you remember when he went into the courtroom, like, trying to Wait, no, I'm thinking of Suge Knight.
Whoa.
I remember Suge Knight was trying to act like he was blind in the courtroom, like, going in with a walking stick. Oh my God, I can't see.
That was Bill Cosby too.
Bill Cosby did that too?
Yeah, but Harvey did start using a walker when he was...
That's it. He started using a walker, saying that, like, he can't...
They all try to act old and frail, like they won't survive in jail.
And they all went to jail.
We're not asking you to survive in there.
We're just asking you to stay there.
In fact, we'd rather you die in there.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm just happy that the women feel some sense of justice, because I know, he had so many women accusations against him, and only like a few of them could actually have their cases heard in court because of like statutes of limitations.
Right.
So I hope that they all felt some sort of justice when he went to jail.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we have a story that really shook a lot of people in 2020. Chadwick Boseman, he passed away, and it was extremely sudden for a lot of us as fans.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know he was sick.
No one knew.
Yeah, he really kept that to himself. Was it colon cancer?
It was cancer for sure.
I'm not
I think it
exactly
was
sure.
colon, but yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing photos floating around online of him, and he looked frail. Like he was thinner than we were used to seeing him. And people were speculating, oh, was it for a role or is he just sick?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted. It's just so sad to think about it. Like, I loved the movie he was in, Black Panther, but apart from that franchise, like, they'll figure it out. He left behind such an amazing legacy. There were so many great roles that he did, so many touching movies. His legacy lives on.
Yeah, he's about to be in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix.
Yeah, that's gonna be his last film. There's no other films that he was in before he passed.
Yeah.
That was finished. He finished filming that August of last year. And I was reading a story, and they said that there was a scene in that specific film that's being released on the 25th of December on Netflix, I believe, with Viola Davis. Anyways, the article I was reading, it said that there is a scene in the movie where he gives a beautiful monologue, and everyone on set was crying. So I'm already like, I can't wait. They're like, everyone was in tears after that monologue. Even he had to take a moment for himself. So I can't wait to see his last film, and I hope he wins an Oscar for it if it's that good.
They're saying he could, definitely. I think, is he in something else too? Or was he in something else? Was he in something else recently?
Recently, I can't think of that. But okay. I know this is the last film.
I thought I heard about, like, he could possibly be nominated, like, twice in the same category or something like that. But I can't think of what his other movie was.
Wait, is he in that movie with Regina King?
No.
Okay, then I can't think of the movie then. Meanwhile, you search for that, we can talk a little bit about Chrissy Teigen and the year she had.
That was another sad story.
It was a really sad story. When I first saw it, I was a little taken aback. I thought maybe some trolls were just like doing the most on the internet, and I'm like, why would you joke about this? But it was real. She lost her baby.
Oh, hold on. It was Defy Bloods, that Spike Lee movie.
Oh, I didn't know. So this is coming out this year as well, or has it come out already?
It already came out.
I didn't see that.
I didn't watch it either, but apparently his performance is really fantastic, and it's like looking back on what he did in that film, knowing that he was sick, people have said it makes it even more incredible.
Well, I do hope he gets the accolades he deserves.
But yeah, back to Chrissy Teigen. I remember I was working that morning, and so I had to like post about it on the account that I was running in that job, and it was really sad that she took pictures in the hospital after her pregnancy loss and then kind of like posted those and chose to share it with the world.
I had a conversation with you about it. I feel very sad for the situation, and I, as a man, could never understand in a million years.
Yeah, I know.
What it's like. I was just taken aback that she had the strength and the will to get up and pose for a photo. Well, I wouldn't say pose for a photo, but
yeah, she was crying.
I mean, she was crying, but she knew the camera was on her and she wanted the photo taken. So I'm going to say what it is. It's a pose. Pose for a photo and then write a caption about losing her child. And this was not like a day after. This was like, I just tried to give birth and it was a stillborn.
Mm-hmm.
This is immediately. In that moment, I could not imagine having that strength to be like, let's take a picture of me right now because I want to remember this moment forever. And not only that, but let's talk about it right now. I would need time.
Yeah, John Legend said recently that he, like when Chrissy asked him to take the photo originally, he was like, didn't want to.
I can see
that.
But
now he looks back on it and he's like happy that they have, I guess, that as like a memory of their child.
Whew, I don't know if I would want that memory.
And then I read that it's very common.
You know what? I was watching a marathon of this show that's been canceled now, The Girlfriends.
The Girlfriends.
It's called Girlfriends.
Oh, Girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
it's a-
ended. I would say it ended, not
it was
canceled.
it was canceled.
I know, but it had like what, 8 years?
It was 8 years, but when I watched the last episode, it was abruptly canceled. They didn't finish out anyone's story.
Okay, it was canceled, but it did have a good run.
It had a good run. So I was watching it, and one of the characters, Maya, she was pregnant, and she had fibroids, and it was like a tumultuous pregnancy, first trimester. She lost the baby, and she was just not acting how you would expect a grieving mother to act. And so her husband was like, "Do you even care that we lost this child? Like, you don't cry, you don't show any emotion, you just want to get along with your life." And she's like, "Well, I have to be strong for everybody, and I don't have time to break down." So I can see from that point of view where something bad is happening to you, you're hurting, but you just want to move past the hurt. You don't want to stay in that moment too long because it might take you way longer to get out.
Everybody reacts to things differently, right?
Yeah. But kudos for her on to Chrissy because she had the strength to talk about a really difficult topic that affects a lot of women.
I mean, people tear her down a lot online because she overshares.
She does
But
overshare.
I think that if you're going to
Be a personality.
share so much of your life, and she was, in the hospital for like a week before that, updating her fans on like the pregnancy and the difficulties and how she needs to be on bed rest, and she came to the hospital because there was bleeding, then you kind of just have to tell them how the story ended. And I think that a lot of people need to talk about things like this. So it's like, if she's the oversharer, yeah, overshare that like not very glamorous part too, because people don't talk about pregnancy loss enough. And then when women do have pregnancy loss, they feel so like alone or like damaged. And it's like, if you only knew how many women have pregnancy loss or
All the time.
miscarriages.
Off the top of my head, I know at least 5 women who've experienced that.
Yeah, a lot of women, maybe majority of women who have children, have had something happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on to Megan Thee Stallion, who had a huge year this year, but obviously it was tainted by being shot by Tory Lanez. I know you had a lot of opinions about it when it first happened, so I want to hear what you think about it.
To be honest, I was not interested in this story when it first happened. Like, not to say I didn't care, but when it first happened, I was like, oh my goodness, how could he do this to her? They were like, I saw them posting at Kylie Jenner's pool party or whatever, even though I was like, it's a pandemic. What are you doing at Kylie Jenner's house having a whole party? But anyways, I was like, they were in a situationship. I don't know if they were together or what, but they were around each other a lot. How do you go from I love you, Meg, I love you, Tory, to I'm gonna shoot your ass, bitch? Like, what point do we get from 0 to 100?
Yeah.
Why I was over it was because she got shot and she was at the hospital and they were taking care of her, and then days passed and weeks passed and months passed, and it's like, why is it no one is being held responsible for you getting shot? If it was an accident, you could have just said that it was an accident and you're not pressing charges or whatever the case is. But you literally, as a victim, knowing that it's okay to speak your truth, protected your aggressor. And I understand what it's like. Trust me, I understand what it is like as a victim not wanting to speak up. But this was a different situation. This was very public. You were violated in front of the world. Everyone knows there were 3 people in that car. You, Tory, and your best friend. And she came out right out the gate. I did not shoot Megan. And you never said, bitch, that's a lie. So she didn't shoot you, so did either Tory shot you or you shot yourself. And it would be real awkward for you to sit in the front seat and shoot yourself through 2 of your feet and hopped out the car. I just didn't get it.
Well, obviously Tory shot her. What does she need to talk about?
She needed to make things clear because she and Tory, they allowed a bunch of narratives to just circulate all over the internet for months and have conspiracy theories going out, and people started calling her a liar, and it just snowballed because she would not just come the same way you guys go on live and you talk about your business every day. You should have come out and set the record straight right away. And that's the problem I have with personalities who are always giving so much of themselves. You cannot pick and choose when you want to do this, bitch. If you're always telling me about all these things you have going on and all these things that are bothering you whenever you feel like it without me asking, well, now there's something that actually happened to you that I'm interested to hear about. Spill the tea.
I don't think she's like that, though. I don't think she's like Love and Hip Hop. I'm going to go on live and tell everybody everything about it, and I'm always tweeting about something or other, this and that. She promotes her projects, and she goes on live when she's in the pool once in a while. And that's that. I don't know. I don't want to pretend to be in her head. Obviously, she was going through a lot of different stuff, thought one way, switched her mind the other way, whatever. She can do whatever she wants. I would say that in this, Tory Lanez has acted pretty terribly.
Reckless.
I mean, reckless in shooting her, but then terrible in his response to it as well.
Because she allowed him to, in a sense. Like, her silence gave him that power over her.
Maybe. But when she was silent, he was pretty silent. Yeah. Although she says he was working behind the scenes, and that's why she stopped being silent. So I don't know. It's just a mess. Tory's been charged for it now, so we'll see what happens. But I really wish Tory would stop like running his mouth as if he was innocent and saying Meg's a liar and this and that and the other thing.
He has to protect his own ass. And like, speaking of protecting ass, the president who was supposed to be impeached, but got acquitted, Donald Trump. That was the story of 2020. Can you imagine?
Seems so long ago now.
It seems like it was, but you know what? The process was very long. The process was like 2 years.
I know, but now that this whole like his response to COVID, it's like that seems so far in the past.
It does. I mean, the entire 2020 seems like a whole decade.
And then he got COVID.
I know.
A mess.
So
such a mess.
They were trying to impeach him on several counts, and on 2 of the counts, he was acquitted, but on a few of them, he was impeached. I just can't imagine having a president in office that's been impeached. It makes no sense to me, but that's how the system works. You can get impeached and you can still be in office.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Well, that's the American government for you, I guess. It's really gone into a different place in 2020. We'll see what happens in 2021, though. It's supposed to switch up in January.
It's supposed to switch up in January, and I'm so thankful that Biden and Kamala, they won instead of like Kanye. Can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine. It was never going to happen.
Never. That guy really was out here trying to sabotage the freaking election.
I know, talking about he's from the birthday party and this and that. Foolishness.
I hope he stops and does not run again in 2024 or whatever.
I used to be a pretty big fan of Kanye. I've seen him in concert twice.
I've never been a fan of Kanye.
And now it's just like, you're killing me. And he started killing me when he said slavery was a choice. Remember when he went to TMZ Live and had the meltdown?
Last year.
That was like the beginning of, okay. Because there was always antics, but it was just like, the music's great. The person, whatever.
You know.
Then it became like, you're saying some damaging stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I just can't support anymore.
Yeah.
Plus the music isn't as good, so that makes it easy.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. And he's producing people like Tiana Taylor, and he's just... Tiana's music is good, but I feel like all this type of weird production shit Kanye is experimenting on with her, it's not doing her any favors.
Yeah. Remember when he was like, oh, I'm going to put out an album every week that I produced or something. What was that, last summer or something? He put out Tiana's album. He put out Nas's album. Everything was garbage.
No one cared.
I think people like that album with Kid Cudi, but I mean Kid Cudi is not my scene, so I didn't check it out.
Me neither.
You know what is my scene?
What?
2021.
Can't wait.
Well, it's just around the corner now.
Yeah, can't wait to wake up and have it be a brand new year. But guess what? I have no expectations. I'm not going to go into 2021 thinking this is my year. This is the year when everything's going to be perfect. Because you know what I did last year? That's the exact same thing I did. And look how 2020 turned out.
You're so foolish and naive.
You should know.
I mean, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, can't wait for 2021. Things don't change overnight. When I say 2021 is going to be good, I'm talking about December 2021. Like some moment in 2021 will be better.
I didn't think like 2020 was going to be the perfect year for me. I just had a lot of goals that I was working towards achieving for 2020 and a lot of things I wanted to do. I didn't just think that, 2020 is going to come and I'm going to win the lottery and I'm going to go all across the world or whatever, you know? I was like, I had vacations planned, didn't get to go nowhere because travel was banned. I had all these other things I wanted to do, couldn't do it because outside was closed. And I'm like, well, that sucked.
Amen. I feel the same. Well, this is our last podcast for 2020.
See you on the flip side. Bye.